Okay, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I'm your host, Blake Wally. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. And I'll be here for an hour, maybe a little longer, covering the latest news and current events. Will we see, finally, what's in the JFK files? Today is the day. And yet, so far, no word. I'm going to keep my eye on it. We'll be looking for that breaking news as it was, I don't want to say promised, but Donald Trump himself floated out that idea last night. But as far as I know, we are still waiting. So there is the thumbnail there. And will they be worth the wait? Guess we'll find out. I swear I just did this show a couple weeks ago, waiting for the Epstein documents. Now, what a disappointment that was. So it looks like some genius with the Photoshop. You can see on the bottom right-hand corner there of the thumbnail. Just replace the Epstein with the JFK. Big binder full of nothing, perhaps. Well, I do have multiple headlines we'll jump through. And if you guys want to participate, or perhaps some breaking news you want to share with the rest of the class, feel free to drop a line in the chat box, and we'll get see if we can include it in today's show. I'll go over the rest of the headlines. We'll run a quick intro and we'll get started. So here's the show topics we've got outlined today. Is today the day we get a long-awaited JFK revelations? How about number 2, the left can't name one thing they hate Elon Musk for? Is that true? How about 3, all of Biden's autopen signings? Should they be null and void? How about Trump? Should he not strip the Biden family of Secret Service? The ceasefire, was it broken by Palestine and not Israel? We can flip that around. The ceasefire was broken by Israel and not Palestine. We'll dig into that. Or should we just stop bombing Yemen and exit the Middle East? And the federal judge, should we allow all the criminals back from El Salvador? And should we follow New Jersey and start categorizing newborns at birth? Could we follow Minnesota's lead and declare Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, as a mental illness? I'm going to try to get through this stuff. Hour and a half tops. We shall see. But for now, let's run an intro and we'll see what's latest with the JFK. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, well, greetings and welcome. Let's get started. Well, it is 5 o'clock now on the East Coast. So I would assume that the JFK files would have been released by now. They haven't. And I'm even doing the show an hour later today. There was a scheduling conflict with Mike Barra. I'll be on his show with him tonight for Toxically Masculine Tuesday in about 4 hours. He's even written a couple of books about JFK and the assassination, so he's got a lot to cover on that. I'm sure we'll get into some interesting stuff in a few hours from now. But so far, here's a tweet from a former baseball player, the outspoken John Rocker, basically saying, where the fudge are the JFK files? Okay, still not seeing anything. As per the thumbnail, we are all waiting. Not seeing anything. All right, how about this goes from here from the Epic Times. Trump says he's releasing all JFK files on Tuesday. Well, here we are, waiting for those 80,000 pages related to the assassination. And, Pam Bondi had the Epstein files on her desk for a while, 200 pages. And it was supposedly pretty damning, nasty stuff. And then they released some stuff, and it was just really a bunch of like flight logs, a big nothing burger. And then said later, well, they had put some pressure on the FBI. They did get to get one FBI agent to step down, forced him into early retirement, I suppose. And then they got a truckload of evidence, allegedly. And then Kash Patel, new FBI director, is going to be digging through it all, redacting some of the victim names, and we're set to get that, maybe. But I mean, we're not too far away from the executive orders from Trump, releasing all this stuff. And it's not just Epstein. It was really MLK, RFK, and of course JFK, which we've been waiting for decades, and still not seeing anything. All right, one of these comments I won't post here, but thank you, Michael Campbell. There's always a lot of controversy with some of the people in this industry and their credibility, and you just never know. Went through quite a phase there with a lot of the who's who in the industry who say a lot and don't deliver quite a bunch, and they all have some kind of insider info, and a lot of it just turns out to be clickbait, I think. And no, I don't think he talks about Phil too much these days. He's been a disappointment. Good old Phil G. I won't say his name, but he had his heyday for that cyber symposium, and it's been downhill ever since. Good old Flat Earth Phil. I don't know. I guess he's still lurking around somewhere. I was never really that big of a fan. And I don't think Mike he's distanced himself on that as well. Side issue. But let's get to some other stuff. Let's get C-SPAN here. Well, this is Trump here speaking. He's making the promise. It's not just, Pam Bondi, talking about the Epstein, because that was kind of a surprise. I wasn't even expecting to get that early, but then it was nothing anyway. All right, here's a little quick video from Trump.
But while we're here, I thought it would be appropriate. We are tomorrow announcing and giving all of the Kennedy files. So people have been waiting for decades for this. And I've instructed my people that are responsible, lots of different people, put together by Tulsi Gabbard, and that's going to be released tomorrow. We have a tremendous amount of paper. You've got a lot of reading. I don't believe we're...
All right, a lot of paper, a lot of reading. It's 80,000 pages. They found another, 2,500 files that were sitting at the FBI. Inadvertent discovery, perhaps. But there's no need to redact anything on that. It's declassified. It's one thing for Epstein because a lot of the victims are still alive. With JFK, most of the people associated with that stuff should be long dead. It's not really affecting a whole lot of people. So I don't understand what the delay is now. But here we are. So I'm going to continue this broadcast for at least another hour. I guess there's technically another 7 hours in the day. I'm going to hold it to the DC Eastern Standard Time, which is 5:15 exactly. So what is the deal? Yeah, right. Yeah, the old cyber symposium back in the day. I mean, we're looking for all that big bombshell revelations that was going to undo the funky, controversial election results of But man, that all didn't work out so well. But fortunately, Trump won. Now we're getting some big promises, but now we're waiting on the delivery. I'm sick of the excuses. I'm sure all of you guys are too. Snake, or is it Blake? Yeah, well, that's in my intro, the old Snake Plissken look. Growing my hair back out again. I think I'm trying to get it to that point where it's long enough where I don't have to put any product in, but a side issue. I'm not going to grow it out quite that far. But we'll switch it up here. Okay, yeah, JFK and then KFC. We got to get to the bottom of that mystery. You're absolutely right, Kenneth. Maybe find out what those 11 secret herbs and spices really are. Of course, it's one of favorite meals of Trump, speaking of which. But all right, I'm going down. Let's check out a couple more things on the JFK. There was also some breaking news I saw from the Epic Times. Got a federal judge who's going to stop the Doge in its tracks, perhaps. One of these federal judges trying to interfere with everything. Also, that's going to be one of the issues coming up a little later with the El Salvador and bringing some of these dangerous gang members that we're deporting out of the country, sending them to a place where they'd probably fit in better with their own new society amongst themselves. But let's take a look. This is Tennessee here in my new backyard. This guy's pretty good. I've heard good things, and he keeps delivering. Tim Burchett says JFK files released today will contain lies, and we will never know who pulled the trigger. Yeah, it seems like they're scrambling to still cover up something. We can get into that. Some people say it might have something to do with one of our allies. But, well, that would be a good reason for them not to expose that to the public per se quite yet. But you'd think Trump would know something by now. And of course, he's got, associates like, Roger Stone. I think allegedly he's already seen what's in it, and he said it's really, it's bad. Obviously, yeah, we don't want to. It's bad when the deep state or elements of our own government, or perhaps teaming up with the mob or the CIA or another country, and taking out the president along with LBJ, getting us into the Vietnam War and so many other terrible things, consequences that we've been living with since that fateful day, November 22nd of 1963. Yeah, completely agree, Michael, but way too long, and we finally thought something was going to happen, and we heard it from the boss himself, and yet we're still not getting anything. We'll continue to look, but if you guys say anything, please feel free to let me know, so I can share it on the screen and we can finally dig through it. Not that I'm going to go through 80,000 pages, but perhaps there's a few highlights. Just let us know who the shooters are, confirm something, a big admission. We'll deserve something. Got to give us a taste. All right, so I asked Grok about it too. Do I have that up there today? Oh, I did on another list. I'm going to look for it. But even Grok was pretty skeptical. I think he'd probably agree here with Representative Burchett that we're just going to get maybe a taste, and we're still going to be left wondering, are they going to continue running the single bullet theory? This was kind of a cool video. Maybe I can run this for a second. I'm going to try to find that breaking news out of the Epic Times. Hopefully there's no copyright music, but here we go with the single bullet or the magic bullet theory, but I'm sure there's was obviously a second shooter, perhaps more. Some say even the driver was involved, but probably somebody on the grassy knoll. Mike Barra's done a terrific breakdown of the whole arrangement, and taking out a couple of the people involved. I think said maybe J.D. Tippett, police officer, was on the grassy knoll. He was involved along with Oswald. And then they took out both of the assassins. So maybe Tippett did the fatal shot, and then Oswald killed him. Ruby killed Oswald. They buried the trail, and then they've covered it up ever since. So let's run a quick video. I will find that breaking news and we'll move on.
A single bullet was fired from a rifle on a 6th floor window. First, it entered JFK's upper back and traveled downward, exiting through his throat. Then it struck the governor in the back, shattering a rib as it tore through his chest. The bullet continued, exiting the governor's chest and hitting his right wrist, breaking a bone. Finally, it lodged itself into the governor's thigh, where it stayed until removed by doctors in almost perfect condition. Now, investigators claimed that this is what happened. A single bullet caused 6 wounds while staying intact. But many argue that the bullet's trajectory is impossible. The angles just don't add up, leaving us
which is why they called it the magic bullet theory. It doesn't make any sense.
Wondering,
but they could never admit that there was a second shooter, and a lot of the witnesses that said, hey, I think I saw shots from the grassy knoll, they wound up getting in mysterious car accidents and what have you. And never heard from again, unfortunately. Mr. Burns did it. A single bullet. Yeah, that's bull. But they've gotten away with it for a long time. All right. Well, let me get to some breaking news, not the ones we wanted so far, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. Here's some breaking news.
was actually...
Okay, how about... Here it is. This is from the Epoch Times. Doge-related dismantling of the U.S. aid likely violated the Constitution. So government officials argued that dismantling U.S. aid fit with the president's authority to conduct foreign affairs. Saying, all right, so I don't know who this federal judge is and what gives him the authority to circumvent the executive branch. I mean, I could see if it was a Supreme Court justice, but it's not. So why do these guys have that much authority? Or at least they're trying to exercise it. So he's saying the Doge likely violated the U.S. Constitution by moving to dismantle the U.S. agency that was put into place by JFK, coincidentally, by the executive branch. So closing the USAID headquarters, laying off the overwhelming majority of the USAID workforce, and terminating most of the agency's contracts supposedly violate the separation of powers established by the Constitution, because Congress outlined specific requirements for significant actions related to U.S. aid, and Musk and other officials have not complied with the requirements. This, according to U.S. District Judge Theodore Schwang, said in an opinion. Well, I guess, why don't we just elect him president? Judge Theodore Schwang, our 48th president, is now taken charge of our country. So much for the separation of powers, which should be between the executive, that would be the president, and the Congress, the legislative, and the judicial, the Supreme Court, but not some federal judge who's trying to save an agency that was not there during the Constitution. It was created much later, again, during the Kennedy administration, sometime in the early 60s. And then ballooned. It probably started off with good intentions and then ballooned into a big bloated slush fund where the government, mostly Democrats, have been destroying taking taxpayer money and spending it on a bunch of stupid stuff. Okay, well, there we go. So there's our breaking news on that front. I guess we can tie that into the second topic that I have, is that the left can't name one thing that they actually hate Elon Musk for. So let's dovetail that into here. Interesting post from Insurrection Barbie, who says the left, this is where I stole it from, the left cannot name one thing they hate Elon Musk for. They cannot name one thing that he has taken away from them, or one thing he has done to earn their insane ire or their anger. I like the wordplay, though. History will study this deranged cult-like behavior. Yes, assuming our civilization ever survives this epic shit show that we're in right now. It would be fascinating to see how they cover the cult-like behavior of the modern left, who are just, I don't know, emotional and reactionary rather than based in truth and reality. Elon here is saying, my companies make great products the people love. He's never physically hurt anybody, so why all the hate and violence against me? Because he's, I guess, a deadly threat to the woke mind parasite and the humans that it controls. Yeah, it's I'm not even a religious guy, but it's like the left is just, they've lost their souls. And they're angry at Elon and Trump. It's that derangement syndrome. But I bet if you actually ask the average leftist, they do start freaking out about how Elon's a big fascist and that he's taking over the country. Would they be able to name really one thing they hate Elon Musk for that's actually based in reality? Oh, he's fascist. He's a dictator. I don't know. Or he's trying to get rid of your Social Security or your Medicaid. That's not true either. A lot of them believe it. So much so, they are turning into domestic terrorists. They are just destroyed another Tesla dealership, this time in my old home of Las Vegas. So now it's time for the Department of Justice stepping up their enforcement actions. This is major domestic terrorism. And you're going after innocent people. These people at these dealerships are not necessarily political. Just regular working people. And, you're putting them in danger. You're destroying their business, their way of life. You could get them physically hurt. Yeah, you don't want to get those batteries on fire. Those are really hard to put out. And it just seems to be escalating further. And they're even they're keying up the cars too. There's been a few incidents of that. Just deranged leftists. They're just so mad at Elon that they're ruining like people's Teslas. Do you think like your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers are just because they own a Tesla now that they're a bad person because Elon decided to try to save you money, taxpayer money? It doesn't make any sense. It's not based in logic and reality. Again, it's just reactionary, emotional, irrational insanity. So here's Elon, another tweet. Encouraging destruction of Teslas throughout the country is extreme domestic terrorism. Now they're actually doxing Tesla owners. So people are like going to be panicking and going to sell their cars so they don't get vandalized by wacko leftists. And I mean, a lot of the people that bought the electric cars to begin with were people that were, concerned, leftists that were concerned about the environment. Burning, fossil fuels, if we think they're fossil fuels, but that's a side issue. So what is Elon really doing? Show us on the doll where Elon Musk hurt you. He's exposing government's shadowy financial system as the Democrats are pushing back out of spite. Latest revelation is the 14 magic money computers across federal agencies, including the Treasury, HHS, and the Department of Defense, which are allegedly issuing payments without any oversight or accountability. A lot of fiscal mismanagement. There's just, and he's saying it's about, with waste, fraud, and abuse, he's saying it's about 80% waste and maybe 20% fraud. Yeah, we're almost 37 trillion in debt. Government takes in, spends way too much money. And a lot of it is just on ridiculous stuff, or just, being thrown away, inefficient, not accounted for. And it's time that we, kind of get our spending in line again. But all of a sudden, Musk is the bad guy. He's taking away the Democrat slush funds like USAID. And then the media and those corrupt politicians are able to pull on the heartstrings of their constituents, get them to fight the battles for them without thinking. It's funny how that works. So yeah, it was on his latest revelation in which he was talking with Senator Ted Cruz yesterday. I'll play a clip from that. There's a few things you can dive into. I also, let me pull up. I got so many tabs open here, but I'll get through it all. Got, San Jose police from Nick Sortor, who was actually squatted a couple days ago. Alternative media is under attack. They can't win on ideas, so now they're just resorting to domestic terrorism to fight back. So San Jose police have announced they've arrested a man who went viral for keying a Tesla, but he's not the only one. There's a few. But this is the first one caught so far, and they're giving him a felony, which is good. So, which is odd, because this guy in particular was wearing like a USA stuff. So I'm confused on his ideology. If you're pro-American, but then you're going after Elon and an American car, doesn't make any sense. Let's see, I'll run a quick clip of this. As somebody confronted him in a parking lot. I don't know if that was by coincidence, but they got him on they videotaped the license plate, turned him in, called him out. He went running off. That's just one of them. There are more. And a lot of this is based on an AstroTurf campaign, which we figured. And some of that money probably comes from those USAID programs. That's what they use that slush money for. Get a rent-a-riot. Get a bunch of paid protesters to come out. So there's no more grassroots activists like the left used to be. Now it's the AstroTurf variety. Paid outrage. So here's Natalie Winters bringing the receipts showing that Soros-funded group Indivisible is paying far-left activists to protest at these Tesla dealerships. Not sure how much they get paid. They used to get like $15 an hour. I don't know. It says that each indivisible group can request up to $200. Is that per representative per day? Keep your itemized receipts and invoices from your purchases. What do you get to do at 1099? I don't know how that works. But they have this investigative reporter, Paul Sperry, discovered this power couple that gets money from Soros. They're behind the violent protests, Leah Greenberg and Ezra Levin. And they have $11.7 million just in war chest money, thanks to $7.26 million coming from George Soros. Here's the couple right here. Okay, coming close to IRS laws, I don't know. Yeah, these are the dirty tricks that the Democrats are playing. All right, let's go to another article here. Elon Musk revealing some of the scams that Doge has uncovered on the podcast with Ted Cruz. These are all things that we should all agree on. These are bad. Who do these benefit besides corrupt politicians? But it's amazing the power of the media and how they get their viewers to go along with this stuff without even thinking. All right, let's watch a quick clip here about the government giving money to nonprofits with few controls and no auditing of those nonprofits. Let's check this one out. And that's where he's also showing the ratio, 80% waste to fraud.
One of the biggest scam fraud holes we've uncovered, which is really crazy, is that the government can give money to a so-called nonprofit with very few controls, and then there's no auditing subsequently of that nonprofit. So there's no. So this is where with the 1.9 billion to Stacey Abrams, they then give themselves extremely lavish, like insane salaries, expense everything to the nonprofit. Buy jets and homes and all sorts of things.
Live like kings and queens.
Yes.
On the taxpayer dime.
Correct.
Okay, well, there we go. We'll put the overlay on there, Kenneth, to accommodate all of your excellent commentary there. And hello, Christian Helwig. Great to have you. So here we go. We'll let the playground go wild if you'd like. I can't keep up with it all. But good stuff. So many pages. But yes, this is just one of many videos of all of the great things that Elon is doing to benefit humanity. This guy has done some awesome stuff. And it's not just Tesla and electric cars. It's SpaceX, the big rescue going on. They're getting astronauts out of frickin' space, not with NASA, but with Elon Musk's private company. It's also got the Boring Company, perhaps alleviating traffic one day. And, I'm not really fond of the putting chips in your brain, but if it helps people with disabilities or injuries, trauma, maybe that could be helpful. A lot of great things he's doing for humanity, but now he's suddenly the public enemy number one for the leftists, out of control, even though they used to like him. And of course, he's also doing Twitter X, free speech. What would we do without that? What if it was still being run by the last crew? The woke leftists and their shadow banning and rigging the game. Wouldn't be much of an outlet for free speech. Yeah, AOC likes it doji style. Perhaps. It's always been interesting, the back and forth with AOC and Elon Musk. Okay, what else do we have? I'll get into the magic money computers that are issuing payments out of thin air. It's also exposed perhaps massive waste, perhaps fraud in the Social Security system. Got a lot of millions of people getting checks that shouldn't be alive anymore. People are wondering if they're also voting too. There's duplicate numbers. It's a lot of issues that he was able to just find within just a couple of months. It's amazing when you get a smart outsider like that to take a fresh look at this old government bureaucracy. Make some good changes. All right, well, let's run a clip here talking about the magic money computers, and then I'll jump into a Grok breakdown, and we'll move along. Here we go.
One of the things you told me about is what you call magic money computers at
Oh,
the
yeah,
Treasury.
yeah. Well,
So tell us about it, because I've never heard of that until you brought that up.
Okay, so you may think that the government computers like all talk to each other, they synchronize, they add up what funds are going somewhere, and it's it's coherent. There's and that the numbers, for example, that you're presented as a senator, are actually the real numbers.
One would think.
One would think. No, they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're not totally wrong, but they're probably off by 5% or 10% in some cases. So I call a magic money computer any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's magic money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, some there's one or two at State, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
Okay, kind of like the Federal Reserve, just printing money out of thin air. Which is fine for a while, until you're almost $37 trillion in debt. So we've kind of gotten to the end here of what we can borrow. It's time to get our house in order. Let me see if I can break that down. I did ask Grok about it, which I highly recommend if you guys aren't using it. It's amazing. Forget Google. Grok is where it's at, man. You can just ask Grok a question and you will get so much better results than you ever could with a regular internet search and then trying to dig through all these different articles or what have you, or wherever you're getting your news from. You can get amazing summaries, and he's pretty objective about this. We got one coming up about Israel and Palestine and the ceasefire that is very interesting to see, to notice the objectivity from the AI system here. So there's also some good benefits. I mean, there's another one we could give Elon credit for, is this Grok AI. Hopefully it won't ever be used against us. Yeah, Grok of ages, Kenneth. Yeah, Grok rocks. Absolutely. I mean, it's fascinating what this can do, how it's changed everything in the last year or so. And I've got them writing my music blogs for me on my website. I might dig into that too. And just the way it can just crank out, answers to things in just mere seconds. It's hard to believe. It's a game changer for real. I wonder if that's going to be used against us someday. It probably will, but I'm here for it. The end of our civilization, maybe. Sometimes it looks that way. All right, so let me ask Grok here a question, breaking down Elon's revelation about magic money computers. Says there's 14 magic money computers that the federal government create money out of thin air. They're at the Treasury, DOD, HHS, and they issue payments without clear synchronization or coherence with other government systems, essentially acting like they have blank check authority. We're still trying to figure out where the money is going to, but it's a lot. I found them working with the Department of, the Doge project that they're trying to shut down. It is really revealing a lot of things that the corrupt politicians did not want us to know about. But unfortunately, half the people that should be on our side, questioning the politicians, getting the money out, going after corruption, are instead turning their anger on Elon. So Musk says the spending numbers they report might be off 5-10%. It's just not transparent or accurate, suggesting the lack of oversight could be a big deal, hinting at inefficiency or waste about the how the government is handling money. So that would mean perhaps 300 to 600 billion. Is that per year? Yeah, so if we're talking about 5-10% of money, if it's untracked or if it's not coded correctly, you're talking $300 to $600 billion that's just being wasted that we don't even know about. And for how long was that going on for? Government Accountability Office reported 162 billion in improper payments in fiscal year 2024. And here's Grok. Here's his suggestion on how to explain the magic money computers to a regular guy. He says, picture this. Uncle Sam's got 14 cash machines in DC that send out billions, like ATMs, except you don't even need a PIN number. So Elon says they're in places like the Treasury and the Pentagon, spitting out checks without always saying why. The books might be off by hundreds of billions a year, real money that could fix roads or schools. It could be reimbursed to taxpayers, but we don't know where it's going until someone audits it later. It's not fake cash, just messy accounting on a $1 trillion scale. So, anyway, yeah, it'd be nice to rein in all of this wasteful spending. But unfortunately, leftists don't see it that way yet. Yes. Well, I don't know, Kenneth. I don't know how to answer some of that. But Grok's a game changer. I do know that. And you can just forget Google. Don't even waste time Googling any. Every time I Google, I don't use Google. I use Start Page, which uses Google results. But you still get the same crap. So if I'm asking a question, what do I get? I get CNN, New York Times, NPR, CBS, NBC, ABC, all the who's who of all of the worst, most biased leftist outlets. Whereas Grok can just answer the question directly without all of the fluff, which is great. It's a big time saver. Anyway, let's move on to another. Speaking of CNN, we've got this. Whoa. I just deleted it by accident. All right, couple quick notes before I dig up that CNN article. Let me get back to my history here. This was a exciting revelation over the weekend. Okay, here we go. Democrat terror campaign continues. 6 more conservative influencers were swatted over the weekend. So we had Jamie White. This is out of InfoWars. We had Jamie White, the reporter from InfoWars, was killed. Now, it does appear to be a coincidence because there was speculation that it could have been from, Ukrainian hitmen or something, that everybody's on this assassination list, a kill list from Ukraine. Now, that might not have been the case, but then they swatted the other InfoWars guy, Chase Geyser. And now we've got more conservative influencers. You had Sean Farash. And Nick Sortor. And I don't even know some of these guys. Matt Van Swall. I don't know who all of these people are, but they're, I guess, apparently leftists know who they are. Dustin Grage, Stu Peters, several more, including is another one that was wild. Juanita Broderick, who was, I believe, she was the one who was sexually assaulted by Joe Biden back in the day. Or was this Clinton? I can't remember. I get them all confused. This she might have been. Yeah, which Democrat president assaulted her? Was it Joe Biden or was it Bill Clinton? I can't remember. But she got swatted too. 10 police, really, and an old lady now. That this was a. They're turning into domestic terrorists. They're going to get somebody killed. You can't win on the debate, so you just try to get your opponents killed by the police. It's amazing what the leftists have turned into. I don't know if there's any volume on this clip. That's okay. Poor lady. She's already been through enough. So many. Tim Pool, and there's got to be just a huge list of them. Marjorie Taylor Greene. So desperate leftists lashing out. Here's that CNN article I was talking about. Speaking of CNN, the Democratic Party's favorability is now dropped to a record low. Gee, maybe you guys would want to look in the mirror. Instead of picking up on the phone and using a VPN and a voice disguiser and trying to call ordering pizzas to somebody's house and trying to get police involved in a shootout, trying to get your political opposition and try to get their family members killed, maybe it's time to reevaluate your ideology. As the Democratic Party, their favorability has never been lower in history. No, I agree. It's a small enough poll, but still, it's pretty significant. And they've been having another internal meltdown, which is unusual, with Chucky Schumer and the squad. Yeah, they're at a loss, man. They've got no leadership. Bernie's too old. AOC's too dumb. Hakeem's too radical. Elizabeth's too corrupt. Got $67 million that we're not accounting for. So I don't know who they're going to turn to. Yeah, I agree. Michael Campbell. Yeah, it's alarming what these federal judges are allowed to get away with. Where did they get this authority from? The Supreme Court is one thing, but the lower courts should have no business meddling around in what the executive branch is doing. Okay, yeah, Christian, I think so. Juanita Broderick, are we going with that was the Clinton victim? I can't remember who the other lady was that was assaulted by Biden. But anyway, side issue. Just curious. All right, I think I've got one more point on this, and we'll look for some more JFK stuff. I think I found something, but doesn't look that promising. But let's jump one last video here, just to show you how lost the leftists are. We got a new robot script just dropped for the NPCs of the Democratic Party. They no longer have individuals and independent thinkers. They just react irrationally and emotionally to everything. Yes, it's the hive mind. The droids. They might as well be. They're just, they're like soulless robots now. It's kind of frightening. But let's check out the latest outrage and the latest buzzwords.
The strength that we have is in this moment.
Listen to your constituents. Center them in this moment.
But I can tell you that there are a lot of people that are watching his leadership in this moment. This is the moment.
No, I think about what's happening, in this moment.
What's important is that we meet this moment.
So are these current Democrats the ones to meet the moment?
What do you want to see us doing right now in this moment?
And which Democrats are actually going to stand up against Elon Musk and Donald Trump in this moment?
The fight that you all are exhibiting is not just what the base wants, but it's what this moment requires.
Fascinating. I gotta wonder, where do they get their talking points from? Like, do they all just get an email? Do they get a phone call, a text message? Like, use these words, in the moment. Make sure you mention that on your broadcast. Make sure you say in the moment, in the moment, in the moment, It is wild. So, very strange. Hive mind mentality. Like we're all living in some weird dystopian Hollywood movie. Not sure I get it. I want to walk out of the theater, but I can't. Stuck. I'm forced to watch it. All right, let's find an update on... I thought I saw one. I just have too many damn files open. It was from Kyle Becker, I do believe. What is he saying? Update. Release of the JFK files has been delayed. And they've even got a polymarket betting odds show there is doubt starting to grow that the JFK files will be released today. You know, sometimes they do that as part of like a Friday news dump or something. But I mean, when you got Trump, Trump from the top, the buck stops with Trump, and he's saying that there's 80,000 pages and nothing's come out yet. So it is now 6 o'clock, or it is 5:57 right now, DC time, and we still have not gotten anything. Just something. Doesn't have to, you don't have to give us all 80,000 pages. Just something we can say finally. Oh my God! At least, they actually announced something. They admitted something. We don't know what it is. A second shooter. Oswald was a patsy. Anything? Or that Lyndon B. Johnson was cool with it? I mean, he's dead. Who cares? I don't know. But, okay, well, it's getting less likely now that anything's going to happen. I'm sorry. I was really hoping to break some interesting news on this broadcast, just like I did with the Epstein files, and got left empty-handed. I'm so sorry, but nothing I can do about it. It should have been sitting here at like 9 o'clock. They could have given us something. I was expecting to wake up, be drinking my coffee and reading something about the JFK, but absolutely nothing so far. And it is already evening time. Yeah, not cool. Definitely, Kenneth. They are the Borg of the old Star Trek. The same thought process. And you can't go against the collective, or they will throw you out. At this point, they should be wanting to leave the Democratic Party. Don't be associating with that cult anymore. They are the losing team now. Be running far away. Although I hear their voting registration has dropped dramatically. Paula Jones. Yeah, that was another Clinton victim there. Can't remember the Biden one. It wasn't Broderick. Who was it? AOC. Her making Blake eggs. I don't know. All right, I guess we'll move on. I'm still going to keep an eye on the JFK thing. I'm going to hope for a miracle. But at this point, I'm not holding my breath anymore. All right, let's get back to the outline. Man, I'm not making real good time. Almost an hour into it. Okay, we're at the lightning round here. Got another 35 minutes left and about 8 more stories. So I guess we'll touch and go. Keep looking for JFK stuff. Not all of them are big stories, and we covered the big ones. But what's next on the docket? Should all of Biden's autopen signings, should they be null and void? Here we go. This could be a great unraveling. This is a huge story that came out over the weekend. President Trump announced, on Sunday, it's a little Sunday night surprise, that all of the pardons issued by Joe Biden in the final days of his fake presidency are void because he didn't actually sign any of them. So, I mean, if he's out on the golf course and he wasn't anywhere near the White House, can he sign pardons? Or were people doing that on his behalf? We all knew he was cognitively declined. It's puppet presidency. How many of these executive orders, other legislations, and the pardons have to be reversed? That'll be interesting. But that's going to be a bombshell, especially for the J6 committee, who gave themselves all blanket pardons. And also for Tony Fauci. Time to, throw the book at these guys. They got to be freaking out. That's okay. They deserve it. But I mean, if they didn't do anything wrong, there's nothing for them to worry about. You don't accept a pardon unless you're guilty. Maybe. They were happy to take it. So here's the kicker to that from Trump here. Well, he's saying, in other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. And it may have been committing a crime. Yeah, or Jake Sullivan or whoever is behind the scenes there. The big donors, the big money, trying to pull his strings. And it could have been from the Fauci and Cheney and Pelosi and Chucky Schumer urging to get their own pardons. But now they're going to be null and void. So he said from Trump, therefore, those on the Unselect Committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt, not only on Trump, but many other innocent people, should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. So, yeah, the fact is they were probably responsible for those documents that were signed on their behalf without their knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of our country. So that was awesome. Here it is. This is autopen stuff that he was allegedly wrote, but he was out on the golf course. That could be a problem. That was a fun finding. He also trolled him with this. I guess this is posted somewhere. I don't know if it's in the White House or the Oval Office, showing him as number 45, number 47. But President number 46, Joseph Robinette Biden, a cognitively declined dementia patient, was an autopen. He was a puppet president. Some great satire here from the Babylon Bee. The 51 former intelligence officials insist Biden never once used an autopen. It's all just Russian disinformation. Of course. But they've all had their security clearances revoked. And perhaps they should be prosecuted too. We shall see. Adam Kinzinger is promising to crush Trump in court after Biden's pardon is invalidated. I don't think that's really the case. I mean, if you thought he could crush Trump in court, then you shouldn't have taken the pardon. What's he afraid of? Crybaby Kinzinger. What a disgrace. Then we have Shifty Schiff saying the Jan 6 committee, they're all proud of their work. Are they? Deleted a lot of evidence, put innocent people in jail. Says their threats will not intimidate us. I trolled him. I said Shifty Schiff should be shitting his pants. Somebody's got to be shitting their pants. Liz Cheney, how many of them? TikTok. So that should be fun. Michael Campbell, Tara Reid. I think maybe you're right there. That's got to be it. That's a good call. I think she actually was the one that moved to Russia to get away because she was being harassed by all this leftists anyway. Yeah, you're supposed to believe all women unless they, go after, unless they're accusing, Clinton or one of these Democrats politicians of sexual assault. Then it's okay. Then they go after the victim. Yeah, I think that's it, Michael. Thank you. Good call. Biden soon to have an auto pen pal in prison. We shall see. Auto Penn and Teller. I saw the Penn and Teller show twice at the Rio in Vegas when I lived there. It's a great show. Okay. Yeah, the pardons are faked. SCOTUS is corrupt. Can't really count on John Roberts for much. He seems to be highly compromised. Okay, yeah, she lives in Russia. That was the one I was thinking of, the one that moved to Russia. So Tara Reid, that's her. Good call. Thank you. Yeah, she also posts a ton on X. I just had her confused. I had her conflated with Juanita Broderick for some reason. Get all the abuse victims all mixed up. No offense. I follow them both on Twitter too. They're great. Okay, well, stay on the Biden subject. Talk about something else the Trump took away. Getting into another subject, Trump, should he not have stripped Biden family of the Secret Service? No, I disagree. I think it's awesome that he did take it away. They were, well, I can't say how much Ashley is abusing it, but Hunter certainly was. He was out on a vacation in South Africa with a huge Secret Service detail. He had as many as 18 of our people, 18 Secret Service members. And how much money do they get paid? And they're great people. But why are we wasting resources? Why 18 of them for Hunter Biden, the degenerate drug addict, the son, the disgraced son of the former resident, out having this extensive South African trip with 18 of our people. That's insane. I mean, maybe if you had like 2, you gotta have some security. I get that. I mean, there's reason why you have Secret Service protection of even former presidents, but I didn't know about this, the family, or that seems a little much. Or you could think you got enough money, you could supply it on your own. So anyways, a good scoop there by Laura Loomer, who exposed this all, brought it to the commander's attention, and they immediately did something about it and cut the security. Or if he's going to use it, he should be paying for it. It should not be paid by taxpayer dollars. I don't care if Hunter goes out to South Africa, but you're not getting paid Secret Service protection, not 18 of them. But yeah, he's just an entitled little shit. So take it away. Anywho, so good work on from Laura Loomer there. There's also another expose from her coming up. We'll get to that soon. I got another big story to get to. Hunter Booger Sugar Biden. I don't know if they still found out. Was that his cocaine in the White House? Or some people were saying it might be Kamala. Or who knows? Maybe, I mean, who's the thing? Maybe Kamala and Hunter Biden. Maybe they were snorting together. Good for them. But they were awful people who had no business being in the White House. Yeah, it is odd that Hunter's in South Africa, and he was alleging the other week, I just covered a story that he was supposedly millions of dollars in debt. But all of a sudden, he's got this big vacation in South Africa, and that doesn't make any sense. I don't believe anything. Yeah, everything about him is shady, and they never got to the bottom of all the business dealings there. So I'm calling shenanigans again. Okay, well, let's get to the next subject here. The Middle East. More craziness over there. I don't know if there's any more on the JFK files yet. Still keeping an eye on it. See if anybody said anything as I peruse Twitter. Not so far. I mean, could you imagine if once it drops, I mean, Twitter's going to go crazy. So I guess people are letting it fade for now. But I'll keep an eye on it. I'll still continue to keep up hope. All right. Yeah, the old baggie there. Yeah, I think they would have known by now. They obviously know who did it, and clearly Hunter. I mean, he was even on the deck of the White House. I forget what holiday it was. It was July 4th or something. And you could see him like he was snorting some on the balcony. That's too bad. It's embarrassing leaving your baggie behind in the library for the Secret Service to find, and then they got to cover it up for you. Oh well. All right. Well, let's move on. So no more. I don't know what is Hunter gonna do now. You have to go back and move in with Daddy in Delaware. To go somewhere and straighten out. What an awful family. I mean, that maybe Ashley's not so bad, and she was looked like she was had a terrible childhood. What a scummy family. Oh well, too bad. At least they're gone though. All right, well let's move on to the ceasefire in the Middle East. It's a controversy. And a lot of people, this is one of those toxic issues, but we're going to have to dig into it. I'll try to cover it objectively. I did mention that earlier about Grok, talking about the ceasefire in the Middle East, Palestine and Israel once again. But so I asked Grok, I said, hey, who broke the ceasefire in the Middle East? Because, there's always the blame game. People are pointing fingers, and it's hard to say. But he says, as of March 18th, determining who broke the ceasefire, specifically the Gaza ceasefire, depending on which side's perspective you consider. Both Israel and Hamas have accused each other of violating the agreement, and the situation remains murky with conflicting claims. Hamas has pointed to Israel, alleging that Israel conducted deadly strikes and impeded humanitarian aid deliveries and breached the ceasefire terms. But then others are saying Hamas caused this, or let's see, also argued that Israel's refusal to fully withdraw forces or allow displaced Gazans to return north, as outlined in the deal, also constitutes a violation. But on the other hand, Israel asserts that Hamas broke the ceasefire first because they refused to release hostages as agreed in the 42-day phase. Israeli officials, including Bibi Netanyahu, have stated that military operations resumed because Hamas halted hostage releases. Only 16 of 33 were freed, so there's still some more. Israel denies blocking aid, claiming any shootings were in response to threats from individuals approaching troops, not a systemic violation. I love the objectivity from Grok. He says, in reality, both sides have likely bent or broken the fragile terms. And without independent on-the-ground verification, it's hard to pin the blame definitively. Ceasefire's collapse reflects mutual distrust and incompatible goals more than a single clear breaker. But what's certain is that fighting has resumed. Humanitarian conditions in Gaza are worsening, and the region's tensions are spiking yet again. So I'll just try to take a look at both sides. You got Israel bombing Gaza, ending ceasefire after rearming with U.S. weapons. Things escalating as Trump is striking the Houthis. So they would be what the Yemeni rebels in defense of Israel, threatens war with Iran. So we have military action in the Red Sea against Yemen. That's not good. We don't want to see anything escalate, including threats on Iran. Luke Radowski is saying many people are getting this wrong. The Houthis did not block the Red Sea, as they're being accused of. They threatened if the ceasefire is not continued in Gaza, but they also can't block the Red Sea. Also pointing out, here's the announcement from Trump. It says, let nobody be fooled. Hundreds of attacks being made by Houthi. They're mobsters and thugs based in Yemen and are hated by the Yemeni people. So we can say that kind of like Hamas. Probably they run. Hamas runs Palestine, and the Palestinians don't like them. Maybe Houthis running Yemen, they're not liked. But did they violate the ceasefire? Is Israel blocking aid? Hard to say. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Usually is. I think Grok is correct there. Multiple ways of looking at it. Gerald Salente saying, turn off Fox News for 1 second. The Houthis stopped attacking ships in the Red Sea like they said they would, so they did accept the agreement. And that was after Israel agreed to a ceasefire to end the Gaza genocide. But when Israel started a 100% humanitarian blockade on Gaza, the Houthis said F that and started in again. Gerald Salente, who I highly respect, I also like Trump, but he's not happy about the situation in the Middle East, and many people are not happy. A lot of the libertarians saying Trump is a coward and he'd rather bomb Yemenis than ask his owner, Netanyahu, to let some flower into the enclave. But there's dispute over that. Here's one from Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Massey's agreeing with Taylor Greene. I've not heard a single American say they want another war in the Middle East or anywhere else. Which Massey says 100%. Yeah, it's the last thing we need. Get involved in another conflict that we should not be involved in. And here's an interesting point here made by Matt Orfalea, saying the Israeli media saying Netanyahu restarts the war because he wants to dodge his scheduled corruption trial. So Bibi, who's controversial figure. I'm not a big fan of him. Not that I like the Houthis or the Hamas. Those are all terrorists in my book. But Netanyahu, involved in corruption and war crimes, will not stand for his corruption trial on Tuesday, that's today, following Israel's surprise attack on the Gaza Strip, which ended a 2-month ceasefire. In his request that the court cancel the hearing, Netanyahu said the prosecution had approved the motion. Did they? So hours ago, the IDF commenced a military operation. And the Prime Minister, Defense Minister, yeah, anyway. I don't know if I'm reading that correctly, but just going through the headlines here. So maybe this is a ploy. You can't stand for corruption file because you're the leader. You're trying to defend your country. So could this play a factor? And would he start a conflict just to, avoid facing justice somewhere? Yeah, absolutely. Not that I'm against Israel, but I think I would say maybe I could agree with Israel 75% of the time. But unfortunately, you got a lot of people who just can never find anything wrong. It's always 100% Israel is the good guys, and you got to question the credibility of some of those people. But I just hope that they can find a way to do another ceasefire and stop this and not get involved, not escalate tensions any further. We should not be, this is not going to work out well for anybody. And it's really not our business to be meddling around their ally or not. Giving them more money? I don't know about that. Fish. What a mess. All right, but got to cover it. Here's Ron Paul saying Trump to stop bombing Yemen and exit the Middle East. Voice of reason here. I'm going to start it midway to get to the meat of the matter here. So let's hear from Ron Paul on his opinions about this conflict.
Recently, they're dropping bombs all over Yemen. You don't have to do that. Yeah, once in office, Trump turned to military force as his first option since the Israeli-Hamas ceasefire plan negotiated by President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Yemen was left Red Sea shipping alone. However, after Israel's implemented a total blockade of humanitarian relief to the citizens of Gaza last week, Houthis leaders threatened to again begin blocking Israel's Red Sea shipping activity. That was enough for President Trump to drop bombs and launch missiles for hours, killing several dozen Yemeni citizens, including women and children, in the process.
So, from people I greatly respect, I don't like being in the middle of all this stuff. But for Ron Paul, Gerald Celente, even Grok, I mean, it's easy to demonize some, Houthi pirate rebels over in Yemen. They can't possibly be the good guys, and I'm not saying they are. But is Israel blocking humanitarian aid to Gaza? Were they actually the ones that are more in the wrong here? Do we should we start bombing the Yemenis, the people of Yemen, innocent people, to fight war for Israel? And no, I would disagree with that. So, So, and I'm disappointed by Trump here. He should just be blindly going along with what Israel wants. Even though we try to back our allies, we have to find the truth of the matter and be on the right side of it. And I'm deeply skeptical of Netanyahu and anything he does. And I hope he's not actually running the show. And we have way too many high-profile people in the government that seem to be on the AIPAC payroll, which is pretty alarming. It's also weird to see so many of the Christians that blindly defend Zionists, which maybe they should reevaluate their opinions. Here's an interesting commentary from this, from, I guess, I don't know who this person is, but it's a random video I found on Twitter from TikTok through a couple of other people. So here's a different perspective on this.
This is not what I voted for at all, Donald Trump. And it is time for every honest, rational American who supported this man like I did because they wanted the end of foreign wars. For us to stop spending our money, lives, and destroying our military that we're supposed to use to defend the homeland. Here, the United States of America, for our people. To fight wars for a foreign country. The Palestinians are trapped in a bombed, destitute area of land with no resources because Israel has cut off all water, power, and food and humanitarian aid to the area. They have literally nothing. No military, nothing. They can't fight back. And they're currently being bombed from the sky with our money. We are currently attacking Israel's enemies in an area that we have no strategic interest in whatsoever. You have got to come clean. Fuck the Epstein files. Fuck the JFK bullshit. Tell us what the fuck has you so afraid of Israel? Tell us, what are you so terrified of? Trump, Elon, why are you guys so afraid of the truth when it regards Israel? Just level with us. Like, I don't even think it's personal blackmail at this point. It can't possibly be that. Are you that evil that you would let millions of people die and ruin millions of Americans' lives and risk World War III? That's how worried you are about the, what, 5 or 10 years you might have left on the planet? What did Netanyahu tell you, Trump? Does he have nukes in a supervolcano in Montana that he can detonate if you do anything wrong? How are we being blackmailed by Israel? Come clean with the American people. If you want us to die on their behalf, tell us why we're dying on their behalf. Explain it to us. Because there is no rational interest for us to continue to fund and die in foreign wars.
Okay, I agree. Well said. And it's the difference between MAGA and the cult followers of the left. There are actually independent thinkers here. And also it's refreshing to see some of the people push back on here. Because you have so many people on the conservative right that are just 100% blind supporters of Israel, our greatest ally, no matter what. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's hard jumping to a side on this, but deeply distrustful of this Bibi Netanyahu character and how much power and influence these guys have in Washington. And to avoid, put America's interests first. It's nothing against Israel. It's not anti-Semitism. Just want to see everybody get along and stay out of this mess. Anyway, all right, we'll move on here. I've got about 7 minutes left. I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour and a half, but a heavy news day, lots of tabs, and hopefully, well, unless there's a JFK revelation, and then I'll push into some overtime here. But all right, a couple other cool stories. I love this development with the getting rid of all of these domestic terrorists, these Venezuelan gangbangers or MS-13, these illegal aliens that were causing problems in this country, have now made their way over to the Supermax prison in El Salvador. And it's wild that there was actually another federal judge who tried to put a stop to this. You can believe that. Let's run the quick clip from this. The first 238 members of the Venezuelan criminal organization Tren de Aragua, they've been labeled as domestic terrorists, and some of the more dangerous ones have been transferred to the famous CCOT, the confinement center for terrorists, for at least a year. You love to see it. Those people terrorized, destroyed El Salvador. It was a hellhole forever until Bukele took over, and they put an end to that. Now it's a new paradise there in Central America. It's time to get the message out for these guys trying to run around America. They were taking over hot apartment buildings in Colorado, and I believe in Texas. I think even here in Tennessee. Now they're being rounded up and sent to where they belong. Keeping our communities safe. And yet, it gets bizarre because you've actually got some judge here trying to keep them into the country. If you can believe that. So the Trump administration has defied a court order to halt deportation, sparking a constitutional showdown. They're using an old obscure, it's the Alien Enemies Act of 1789 to halt the deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members. The Democrats and civil liberties groups are criticizing the administration for flouting the rule of law. I mean, what purpose does this even serve? It doesn't make any sense. But there's another interesting angle brought up by Laura Loomer, who's uncovered an enormous taxpayer-funded conflict of interest involving the Obama judge who ordered that Trump administration to stop deporting criminal aliens mid-flight. It turns out that his own daughter was involved in providing legal counsel for illegal aliens. Here she is. She's a little cutie. But into some bad stuff here. It's another one of these judges that seems to have a activist family, which is seems to be skewing their judgments on the Trump administration. So here's Laura Loomer here from a tweet saying Judge Boasberg blocked the deportation of Tren de Aragua gang members without disclosing the fact that his daughter works for a 501c3 called Partners for Justice, and that gives criminal illegal aliens and gang members legal advice. So he's the guy who tried to stop these violent criminals from being deported. I mean, it's shocking when you dig into this stuff. So kudos to Laura Loomer. She can be a little obnoxious sometimes, but she does some great work. Okay, well, what else do we have? Venezuela's brutal socialist regime compares deporting violent gangsters to the Holocaust, calls it crimes against humanity. This is weird. It gets stranger by the day. I don't know. I think that's something we should all agree on, but apparently we don't. All right, well, we got a minute left. Lightning round. A couple other last stories I have. It's about New Jersey and Minnesota. My home where I was born and raised. So New Jersey is asking, they're starting a new trend. They have hospitals asking parents to assign pronouns and sexual orientation to newborns in a bizarre survey. So they're asking, so if you're having your child, and instead of just, oh, it's a boy or a girl, now you're going to identify newborns' preferred pronouns and sexual orientation via a controversial form. Now, is that going to be on their birth certificate? People are going to look one day and go, yeah, my crazy leftist parents put pronouns on my page and said I was trans or non-binary. I don't know. Or gender queer. Additional gender categories. It's an absurd questionnaire, defying all logic and common sense. But that's how things have changed over the years. Not for the better, at least not in this case. Hopefully that's an isolated incident. And then there's an interesting note out of Minnesota, actually doing something good for once. Usually it's some embarrassing leftist stuff. But this is some pushback here. So they're trying to make Trump derangement syndrome as becoming a state law in Minnesota and classified as the official mental illness of widespread hysteria gripping leftists. So if you thought Trump derangement syndrome was hate speech, you were reading the wrong news. Every day the psychological warfare comes from the left in the form of hate speech, propaganda, threats, swats, and deranged actions. And that's why TDS is now becoming law, not just some catchy saying to describe the brainwashed Democrats and live nuts of America. Democrats have no policy, no sanity, no ethics, no morals, and no ground to stand on except for hating Trump. He's like the Fuhrer. He's somebody who's abused in prison, taken all their rights away, ruined their lives, made everybody racist, etc., etc. So Minnesota gonna maybe a new state law that Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing and it's about to become an official mental illness. So that's pretty funny. It's about to become a clinically recognizable condition. So they can bring you in, get them a straitjacket in a rubber room, and diagnose them with TDS, and we'll all understand. It's fascinating. It's an organic disorder of the brain, perception, orientation, memory, or behavior. I don't know, going into all of this. But it is bizarre. You can't even have a normal conversation with a lot of these people because they're so messed up. Okay, yeah, it's just a blind hatred for Trump and nothing else makes any sense. Minnesota. It's a good place to be from. It's a good place to be born and raised. It's a little different nowadays. I don't know if I could go back to that, but hey, that's refreshing. That's a good thing. So hopefully that's a good development. I don't know. So we'll see if other states follow that trend. But finally, some good news. All right, so what else do I have left? It's really about it. I guess if you guys want to, I'm putting a lot of grok music blogs on my website. Here's the latest one with Lost in Space. It's pretty cool with Elon to the rescue, SpaceX. Get those poor NASA astronauts out of there. I tied it into a fun little disco revival music video from Foster the People. It's called Lost in Space, coincidentally. Got a lot of I've recruited Grok to do music blogs on my website. So it's got a lot of controversial political opinion with some music blogs sprinkled in. I'm putting a collection together. Of course, St. Patty's Day. Flogging Molly. Oh, I didn't even get into the Dropkick Murphys and their controversy. I guess they got temporarily banned on Twitter for criticizing Trump. That's, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with them being censored, even though I don't think that's... I think they're off base by criticizing Elon and Trump, but what have you. Anyway, I think that's all I've got. I'm actually going over my time here. Past my 90-minute mark. And I'm greatly disappointed that we still did not get... Let me take one more. I'm going to peruse my Twitter list here. One more last hope to see if we found out anything with the files. How about anything? Anything on JFK? Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on, everybody. Here's out of Rasmussen reports. Major JFK data dump finally in progress. Here's what's currently available. Or update, it's after 5 p.m. and there's nothing. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Damn it. Okay, I guess that was from an hour ago. All right, never mind. A big whole lot of nothing again. We've been had. All right, well, I want an explanation for that. We'll find out. All right, well, maybe I will find out later tonight. As, what the hell is going on here? What happened to my screen here? Okay, well, I guess I'm going to call it a day. And then we'll do another show tonight if you guys want to check it out with Mike Barra, Dr. Brooks Agnew, and Trail Boss Steve Doran. That's coming up in about, 2 hours and 19 minutes from now. Little Toxically Masculine Tuesday. Mike is a bit of an expert on the JFK assassination. And hopefully by then we'll get some kind of revelation. I don't know. But I guess you can find out. We'll find out eventually, maybe, or not. But another disappointment, unfortunately. Much as I like Trump, I'm going to be criticizing. We all should. We all need to put the pressure on the administration to get some answers. And we absolutely deserve something after that, especially after Trump came out and told us yesterday that we would get something today. 80,000 pages. How about just 1,000 pages? 1/8. And maybe just 1,000 pages a week for the next 8 weeks. That'd be cool. That'd give us enough time. We can cover it in detail. But unfortunately, it didn't happen today. All right, guys. And thank you, Kenneth. Always fun to have you in the chat. Christian and Michael and everybody else out there lurking in the background or watching on the archives. I greatly appreciate you all. Please like and subscribe, and we'll do it all again Thursday. That's all I've got on my time today. So take care, and we'll see you later. Love you all, and see you next time. I'm out.